So let's start in round 2 because we started with round 1 in the barn. We talked all we could about that. It was an hour and 20 minutes of Connor Rogers and Chris Simms and Ahmed Free just hanging out, talking dudes. So round 2. And we'll start.
And we got 10 top button swags.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Out.
10 top button swags. So this is what this is. So 10 teams earned your top button swag.
Top button swag. They can button their top button this week and be like, Chris Simms said we can. We're cool. We killed the draft. We can be cool like Chris Simms this week.
So as we go throughout this exercise, we will hand out 10 of your top button swags. All right, so let's start with the 49ers.
Oh, damn, I got to call my friends John Lynch and Shanahan, tell them to button that top button.
Wait, let's say right away, did they earn a top button swag? Are they one of the 10?
Yes, they did. They definitely did.
They are one of the 10. You have to do that to keep your friendship going, but that's okay.
That's right.
We say round 2 here, so let's start there with them. They took Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle from Texas. That was your favorite pick?
You have best players available. He was one of our top 5 D tackles when we went through it. He was our number 4 D tackle. And I think during the process, one of the things you heard me say is like, hey, this guy, like really high ceiling, really high floor. He's one of the safest picks in the draft. And evaluators can miss on him because he wasn't asked to be disruptive, right? He's one of those guys where you got to watch closely. They just asked him to hold down the fort, make a mosh pit, do that type of stuff. There's more there. So I love this because the 49ers are getting back to what made the 49ers when you were working out in San Francisco and what got them to 2 Super Bowls and the other NFC championship games. Their defensive line specifically. Mykel Williams, big dude off the edge, watch out. Alfred Collins in the middle, big dude in the middle now. So, I mean, just there right off the bat, you go, man, Mykel Williams, Nick Bosa, excuse me, along with an Alfred Collins. I kind of like that 3 right away. There's some tremendous potential there, right? So, and Elliott Jordan in the middle or whoever it might be. It might be one of these other rookies. But I love Nick Martin, the undersized linebacker from Oklahoma State. He is linebacker / strong safety-ish type of look. I don't even know how they're going to use him, but I can see them using it as both. Flies, super aggressive, okay? Upton Stout, the cornerback from Western Kentucky, another kind of those guys, but a nickel. He's going to be a nickel that's going to fly around, tackle, and, of course, he's really quick in short spaces and got some speed. I love C.J. West from Indiana. He is a smaller, can shoot the gaps, do some of that stuff, create chaos, all of that. I love that, but also can hold it down for a smaller type of D tackle. I like all of that. And Curtis Rourke in the 7th round is a guy that I don't think if he's hurt, if he's not hurt, he goes before that in this draft. I mean, he didn't get to show himself in this process with the knee injury he had in Indiana and played with through most of the year. But I thought they had a really good draft.
Which is a cool story and part of the good thing of college football with all this movement around from team to team. He goes from the MAC to Indiana. Now he's drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. They took a running back, which Kyle Shanahan is required to do every year with Jordan James.
He's going to do that.
Oregon.
You know that.
Were you surprised they went defense with the first 5 picks?
I mean, 5 in a row. If you would have made me guess through talking out there to some of those guys, I would have guessed that defense was mostly on their radar. Would I have thought the first 5 picks? No. Okay, so but I think it's the right approach for what they need to build their team. And, I think the offense has a few more pieces. And also, on top of that, Shanahan can cover some of the holes on the offense. Mm-hmm. So that's where I like this approach. These were some guys that have a chance to really be big-time contributors, start for their football team. Mykel Williams, Alfred Collins, they're going to start day one. I can promise you that. I think they were phenomenal. The 49ers crushed it.
That's the bad part of Kyle Shanahan making all that money and being an offensive coach. He's like, I need more toys. Be like, no, that's why we're paying you a lot.
Damn, I know. Robert Saleh just came in. He just said, okay, I'm so happy to have you back. I'll make every draft pick for you.
You also like the Cardinals' 2nd round. They got Will Johnson, your number 1 corner, falls all the way to 47 overall. Of course, you heard the reports, had the knee injury. It was coming off the foot injury from the year, and so there were medical concerns with Will Johnson, but you love the player.
Oh, I do love the player. I mean, you got the best pure cover corner in the draft. Can I tell you how many teams in the 20s were like, oh, we'd love if Will Johnson fell to us, right? But some of these guys don't have the final medical report to know whether they're until they get in the meeting room that night for the draft and they go, oh, crap. Damn, I was hoping he'd fall to us. He is going to fall to us, but we're not going to take him because there's a medical issue here, right? But overall, okay, let's start like Will Johnson round 2. I don't love Walter Nolan, right? The first round pick. But again, I'm not going to be mad at a team and Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort and a bunch of guys that I respect for them believing in a guy. I'm not, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But either way, they address the positional need. So I'm all for that. Then you get Will Johnson. They need a corner. They arguably get the best one in the draft. I love Jordan Birch. You know that. He's a versatile D lineman, one of the under-the-radar best linemen in the draft because he's not a sexy sack machine. He's kind of a DN, can play D tackle. He's one of those guys. He's really good.
Playing through an injury last year with Oregon.
Did that as well. Cody Simon, the linebacker from Ohio State, would not surprise me if he started at day one. So, yeah, I was really happy with their draft, and I think they got, with those first 4 picks, I think they got 4 guys that'll play and contribute in a big way right away.
Did they get the top button swag?
You know it.
They got. So
there's
another
talked
one.
About this early. Top button swag all the way, baby.
2 of the 10 already gone. Teams are starting to sweat it right now.
Oh, they better.
It's going to get thin here very fast, just like the draft. The Chicago Bears. You want to talk about the Chicago Bears?
Oh, yes, I do.
Benedict Johnson goes with a offensive heavy
Benedict Johnson.
First 3 picks for Colston Loveland, the tight end out of mid. That was one of the shocks of the first round. He goes before Tyler Warren. He took one of my favorite receivers in Luther Burden, which I hate now. I have to root against him with the Chicago Bears. But they took him and Ozzie Trapilo,
right,
the offensive tackle from Boston College. Shamar Turner in the second. They had 3 second-round picks, and you liked which one of those the best?
I mean, the Luther Burden is the guy I'm scared I'm wrong on. I've told people like a few radio shows and podcasts, like, yeah, he wasn't in my top 5, and he's the one guy that didn't have my top 5 where I'm going to go, I might regret this one. I understand that. He's got DJ Moore vibes, right? A guy that can catch the ball. He's kind of built like a running back and can make big plays. But even Ozzie Trapilo, I want to give him a little credit because we didn't talk about him a lot in the process. But, again, this is a team that's okay. We don't know what's going to happen at left tackle with Braxton Jones. Maybe this guy could be the replacement. Maybe he replaces them this year. I don't think so. But Braxton Jones is on a contract year. Big guy, kind of has a Taylor Decker type of body. So I think it's like, yeah, he might not start or play this year, but for the future, that's good. Colston Loveland, I heard Ben Johnson say it. We said it. He gives me Sam Laporta vibes. He wants a route-running tight end. That's what he values. Ty Warren's not that. Ty Warren's kind of like, just get the guy in space and then watch out. Give him the ball, and the ball in his hands, see you later. But he's not going to run some of the intricate routes Ben Johnson likes to the level Loveland's going to run them. So that's why he did that. Let alone he's a better blocker than Tyler Warren. And Shamar Turner is one of those D tackles, can be an F the play up type of guy. I mean, he is jacked. He's athletic, right? And I would think he contributes to their team pretty early on in the process, too. The Bears, between free agency and the draft, they are one of the winners of the offseason in general and definitely are in the top button swag club.
They get it too.
Oh,
so
they
3
definitely
of the
do.
10 are now off the board.
Yeah.
So when covering the Big Ten over the last 2 years, there's been one running back that I've loved to watch play. I just love the way he runs, violent, has disregard for his body. Team leader from all I hear, Kyle Monangai.
No doubt. I'm glad you brought him up.
Last pick.
I'm glad you brought him up, and he does. He's got some attitude. Listen. I think they made this. This is their Ty Montgomery. I feel like that's what they did. They're like, we got DeAndre Swift. He's kind of our Jameer Gibbs. And now we're going to use this guy a little bit more of the tough break tackles, make you miss in a little short areas and do that. I think he plays faster than his 4.6 40 time. Yeah. He could be Isaiah Pacheco-ish, where you go, yeah, he didn't have a ton of big holes to run through all the time at Rutgers and all that, but you get him in the NFL, he's going to be better than people realize.
It's bad. I don't like it. I don't like it. The Chicago Bears.
Well,
Ben Johnson, his first draft there as a head coach. We move on to the Baltimore Ravens, and they took Mike Green, who was a big faller, out of the first round, deep into the second round, 26th pick of the second round. He goes 59th overall to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that's the reason they're here. Or they're not going to get the top button swag award.
They don't get that. Okay.
No, they don't get it. They're like one button away. Okay. But they deserve a mention here in the fact of, one, like Malachi Starks, he's a Raven-type guy. Their secondary wasn't very good. Or I don't want to say very good. It was better at the end of the year. But they need to get some more young talent in their secondary. That's for sure. Starks, safety, nickel, can do all that kind of stuff. Leader, tough guy, just like the Ravens would want. I mean, to get Mike Green at pick number 27 in the second round, 59 overall, that's insane, right? So that's where I love this draft for them to get arguably maybe the second most naturally gifted pass rusher in the draft and a position you need. How can we not sit here and talk about that a little bit? They got some other good picks, certainly, but nothing jumps off the screen, and nothing jumps off the screen quite the way Mike Green does in the second round.
Tough to give him full credit on that because clearly he was not on some teams' draft boards with the off the field and the reports of the sexual assault in high school and then in college as well. So, yes, it makes sense that he fell because some teams were just not going to draft him.
No, and full transparency, when they drafted him, I was a little like, wow, I know there's some of that off the field stuff. They're dealing with their kicker, dealing with certain off the field stuff. But knowing them, they're a very detailed, diligent organization.
Sure.
And they wouldn't just totally go, oh, we think he's a bad guy. He's so good, though. We're just going to take him. The Ravens really don't got bad guys on their football team. If you really look the way they've run things throughout the last few years, they like football guys. They like guys that work. They love football. They've certainly shown that, and I would think that they've felt comfortable, and hopefully it's for good reasons.
No top button swag.
No top button swag, but they're up there.
Mention.
They're up there.
Still in the second round, Cincinnati Bengals, division rival of the Baltimore Ravens. In the second round, they took Demetrius Knight Jr., linebacker, South Carolina, 49th overall.
This is, to me, one of my favorites, really. I like this. We didn't get to talk about him in the linebacker process. First off, they have an issue with Jermaine Pratt and whether he's going to be back. He wants to be traded. This guy is NFL ready right now, okay? Explosive, big boy football, going to be able to play in the AFC North. Doesn't matter who. Oh, you want to play physical downhill football? Okay, he's going to be there for that. He's fast. Yeah, could he get a little better, like as far as coverage? I know that's the one thing people worry about him. Can he stay on the field all 3 downs? I don't think there's going to be a problem there. I don't. I think it was a nice pick by them. They needed something they could depend on right away. South Carolina middle linebacker, SEC football. He's going to be ready to go. He could start for them right away. Shamar Stewart, I know that they've gotten a little crap for that pick.
Oh, they have?
I think they have in the Cincinnati area. Yeah, a little bit because he only has 1.5 sacks, okay? So I want to throw some shade on that or some water on that because –
throw some shade to the shade throwers.
Well, first off, this is where I would argue with Shamar Stewart too. They need someone that can play right now. Shamar Stewart, you're not going to have any problem there. There's no game or player or team that's ever going to be able to physically overmatch him. He's one of the safest picks in the draft. That's what I keep saying. That's one of the things I think people are missing on. Like his floor is like, well, he started for us for 7 years. That's just floor. So that's not that bad. Let alone his ceiling is like Myles Garrett. So I don't know. I think that's pretty damn good. I would do it. They need it right now. I think they'll get it done with Trey Hendrickson. It doesn't matter. They still needed the other DN. They have nothing. Hubbard retired. Right? Joseph Asai is their penciled-in starter there right now. Not anymore. Shamar Stewart will be ready, and that's why I like both of these guys. They're game-ready, SEC football. You're not going to have to worry about, I think they have to work on this, and they might get overwhelmed or overpowered. They'll be ready to go. Not top-button swag.
Not top-button swag,
no, but one button away.
Worth a mention.
Right.
What I noticed a lot during the draft, too, is what we talked about on the last podcast when you said most teams draft for need. They don't admit it. It's not cool to say that. It's not in vogue right now. You see it with the Cincinnati Bengals. You see it with just about every team. And Shedeur Sanders is not falling to the 5th round.
Exactly. It's really a bullshit saying that goes on in the NFL.
Yeah. Best player available at the position that we need.
Exactly. That be really the way they say it. Yeah. Or every now and then somebody falls to a spot where you go, we're not desperate. We don't need this position, but we have such a high grade on here that we're going to just take this guy here because it makes absolutely no sense for us to pass him up. Every now and then that happens. But I think for the most part, yes, it's draft with need, and hopefully that matches up with a high-quality player, and that's when you see the team trade down or try to do something
like that. Because trade downs would make no sense if you just drafted best player available because you would just take the best
players available. You don't need to trade down. There's the best one available. Let's go. Right. You're exactly right. That's easy logic I could throw in my friend's face next time I have that conversation.
All right, how about the Denver Broncos?
Yeah.
In the second round, they had the 60th overall pick. There's a little run on running backs going on, I think, just before this, maybe.
Right.
And they took R.J. Harvey, one running back, I think number 3 or 4 for you.
Yeah, well, he was number 3 for
you.
Me. Yeah, he was. I put the top 2 in the same tier, right? Genty and Omarion Hampton.
Yep.
And then it was R.J. Harvey in the next tier. This is again not a one that I'm going to sit here and tell you is top button swag award, but we'd have to mention them, and the fact that This is one of the better defenses in football. You got a starting secondary, safety, nickel, whatever, and Jahdae Barron, right? And then you need a starting running back, and now you have one. R.J. Harvey's going to be their starting running back. He will be the guy. So I think that's where I like it. This is a team that is better than people realize. There's not a ton of holes here. And those were two that you looked at and kind of go, yeah, they killed it in free agency, but could they use another secondary guy? Certainly. Okay. And then you look on the offensive side of the ball, and you by far would look at their offense and go, the weakest part of their team is the running back position. And now you got a guy, to me, that can start and be a 1,000-yard rusher for you. So I love that.
Came on strong at the end of the year, too. And so
definitely.
Like
I mean, a playoff team in a year where, yeah, they're still dealing with Russell Wilson's salary cap charges, and they still are no, they're not anymore this year. They're out of it officially now.
All right, moving on to Jim Harbaugh's draft for the Los Angeles Chargers. Had a whole lot of picks, but just one in the second round, and that was one of your favorite wide receivers in the draft out of Mississippi, Ole Miss. Trey Harris went 55th overall.
Well, it's another team that I would sit here and go, I'm not going to give them the Chris Simms top button swag award.
You can't hand that out to
everyone,
right?
There's only 10 of them we're giving here. But it gets like, close to the top button. And it's a little bit like the team we just talked about, right? They got two starters. That's what I like. And two difference makers. We got to help out Justin Herbert. So one way, we know we got a big offensive line that has the ability to be overpowering and do that. How can we take advantage of that? Oh, that's right. We got to get a big-time running back. So they got Omarion Hampton. Now, what can we do on the other side of the ball, or as far as receivers that can separate downfield for Justin Herbert? Because we all know that was an issue with their football team last year, and there's still some questions about some of the guys that are there. Ladd McConkey, awesome. How good is Quentin Johnston going to be? We're waiting to see. There was a few moments last year, but there's also a few moments too, right? So Trey Harris starts, while hopefully Quentin Johnston comes along, and you got Ladd McConkey to go along with that, and they got Mike Williams as a fail-safe plan behind him. But I would expect that both of those guys start and contribute in a big way right away, and their offense looks totally different now with those two guys there.
Fat Rike 54
yeah.
tweeted into us. He goes, the Chargers had a good draft. They got more dynamic and faster on offense with Omarion Hampton and Trey Harris. Also, getting a run stuffer like Jamar Caldwell to replace Poona Ford gives them more size and depth on the defensive line.
They did well, and again, like we talked about, the first few rounds still were all big people. And Trey Harris is a big receiver. And at that, one of the biggest big play receivers there are out there. Mm-hmm. And the Chargers like big people. Jim Harbaugh showed that whether he was at Michigan or the 49ers. Horvitz, his GM, came from Baltimore. Guess who they like? Big people.
Big people.
Right. So that's what they're going with. And, yeah, even Kyle Kennard, the edge player they got from South Carolina, I like him. He's got a chance to be something. And Jamari Caldwell, like our buddy said, he is a big, good run-stopping D tackle that we didn't get the chance to talk about in the draft process, where you go, damn, there's another good player that we didn't even get to talk about that he'll probably be starting next year. And that's what I mean by this draft. There's guys that we didn't get to talk about, the public doesn't even know, and I'm going, damn, I studied this guy for an hour one Wednesday afternoon, and I'm telling you, he's a player. He just didn't make the top 5 or top 6 of the position, but you went, damn, good player, right? Going to start for his team somewhere in the first year or two of his career. And, I thought the Chargers did a good job. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.